As the old saying goes, it ain't over till the fat lady sings, especially in the playoffs, but fans don't always heed this warning. In 1992, Buffalo fans left the Bills-Oilers wildcard game early because there was no way the Bills could overcome a 35-3 deficit. A more recent example occurred during Game 6 of the 2013 NBA Finals, when hundreds of Heat fans infamously exited with 28.2 seconds remaining. But that would never happen with a game that's just about to go to overtime, right? Well, not exactly. On July 14th, 2018, Washington Valor fans began leaving their first playoff game against the Albany Empire after regulation while the teams met for the coin toss. Brace yourselves for a logical kerfuffle because honestly, y'all gotta hear the story of the Albany Empire at Washington Valor game, the time fans left a playoff game as overtime started. Before we even talk about the teams involved in the game itself, we need to discuss the state of the Arena Football League prior to the start of the 2018 season. The AFL was, to put it bluntly, nearing death. After the 2017 season, 2 of the 5 teams remaining in the league left. The Cleveland Gladiators announced they'd be going dormant for 2 years because their arena, now known as Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, was being renovated, while the Arena Bowl runner-up Tampa Bay Storm, a mainstay of the league since 1991 and charter member from 1987, folded because of mounting losses. The AFL was lucky to have an expansion team ready for 2018, the Albany Empire, but were down to the fewest teams since the 1987 demonstration season. This forced the league to make some changes to the regular and postseason. The AFL decided to reduce the regular season from 14 games to a mere 12, with each team playing the other 4 times. All 4 teams made the playoffs regardless of record, but the playoffs weren't anywhere near normal. The Arena Football League made the semifinals a 2-game aggregate point series while keeping the Arena Bowl a 1-game final. The AFL is not the first football league to try this out, but it had been a while since the last attempt. If you remember my last video, I mentioned that Canadian football used this format in the 1950s. In fact, the Eastern and Western finals from the early 50s to early 70s were 2-game aggregate point series, just like in the Champions League. The AFL did have one slight modification to that format, and that brings us to our game. It's July 14th, 2018, and the 8-4 Albany Empire are on the road playing the 2-10 Washington Valor in the first leg of the semis. This game is about as stereotypical as an AFL game could be. The Empire scored first, the Valor responded, then Empire, then Valor, etc., etc. The Valor scored the game-tying TD thanks largely to this hilariously poor onside kick attempt. With 14.7 seconds remaining, the Empire lined up for a potential game winner, but missed. The Valor attempted a pass with 3 seconds left, but Brandon Cisse sacked Ariel Nelson to end the game. If only things were that simple. Everyone assumed the game was over at this point, but coaches were calling players back while fans were leaving. Maybe the referee can make this clearer.
A regulation ends in the first of this home-and-home playoff series.
We'll proceed to overtime.
Wow.
Or not. That's acceptable. Fans left en masse because they'd never heard of an aggregate point series playing a game 1 overtime. This never happened in Canada, so I decided to double check if this was commonplace in other sports that have used this series, and it very much isn't. The very early days of the NHL used aggregate series in the rounds before the Stanley Cup Finals, and they never played overtime if the first game tied. I found a more modern example in European basketball. The first game of the 2010-11 Euro Cup basketball quarterfinals ended in a 66-66 tie between Germany's BG Göttingen and Italy's Benetton Basket Buin. Yet again, no overtime, because of course they didn't, because there's another game to be played that is now winner-take-all. Anybody who understands the concept of this playoff format gets this, yet for some reason the AFL made the absolutely inane decision to play overtime. The PA announcer told people to come back, but it was quite clear that the Capital One Arena was emptier than before. The Empire prevailed 57-56, but lost the overall series 103-97. The Valor went on to beat the Brigade 69-55 in Arena Bowl 31 to cap off quite a crazy season. Sadly, the Arena Football League managed only one more season before closing its doors for the second and potentially final time in 2019. I was lucky to watch this moment live and feel the utter confusion those fans had. It was a total mess. They say it ain't over till the fat lady sings. Well, maybe someone should have closed her door while she was rehearsing because everyone heard it by accident. That's why y'all had to hear the story of the time people left an overtime game early. Thank you for listening. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this third episode of Y'all Gotta Hear the Story of. The podcast episodes that I've been doing for a while, they're still ongoing. I do a live sports podcast now at 9 Eastern, 8 Central every Thursday night on my Twitch channel that's linked below, as well as a weekly recorded podcast every Friday that is also linked below. The next episode of this shall be coming out by the end of July, but it's going to be a bit longer than the normal ones. I'll have a trailer out for that by next week. But until then, thank you so much once again. Bye-bye.